timing couldn't be better. As the countdown expires, the buzzer beater, Josh Copeland, made the call.
Josh,
Welcome,
that's a
guys.
mighty fine looking beard you got going on right there, buddy.
I think he's still connecting audio, but he's going to be making it here. Welcome to the inaugural Misconfiguration Madness tournament, hosted by us over here with the SME experts of Matt Lee from PAX8 and
What's up,
Josh
y'all?
Copeland representing Sention over here. So really excited to kick off the event, and I can't take all the credit here. Austin, you were actually the one with this idea to add a little bit of fun to configurations.
I don't know. We both, you helped blow it up. I was just like, we should do something for March Madness, right? And like, oh, Misconfiguration Madness. And you're like, wait, let's make this a live stream event. Very fortunate to have Matt and Josh join us too. Like, so excited to kind of break down 64 of the CIS benchmark settings, see how they match up head to head, and just have some great discussion. Yeah,
it's going to be fun, and I'll outline the rules for us here today. But and I'll at least put this in the background. But Matt, kick us off really quick. I feel like you are a bit of a celebrity in the space. You probably don't need an introduction, but tell
whatever.
us, why are you the SME on CIS settings?
Because I'm the loudest. I'm thinking. Like, that's my only real value I can come up with, I think. No, I've done just a lot of work. I've both implemented the CIS safeguards as a practitioner at a very high level, but also work on them from a subject matter person, and have done a lot of work on trying to use CIS as a kind of Rosetta Stone to products and tools. I also very much believe that, especially if you follow something like the cost of cyber defense, at the end of the day, or even the community defense model, like 70-something% of TTPs are covered by IG1, like inclusatory of 4.1, which is that of, configuring your assets. And yeah, I don't want to spend 45 minutes on this conversation, but the point being, I think I've spent a lot of time on this. Yeah, so.
And Josh, if we have your audio back, do you yourself really quick and your background with CIS in these settings?
Yeah, so Josh Copeland, I help the folks at Sention doing some field scissor work. I'm also a professor of cybersecurity at Tulane, so broad background, did 20 years Air Force. Pretty much, if you've ever worked federal space, you know that system hardening is kind of the bread and butter of everything that you do. And for all the reasons that Matt highlighted, the things that you do in system hardening make it just that much harder when there's a new novel exploit out there for a new software. You're creating that, nice layers of defense, making it a hard, crunchy outside and a little less soft, gooey middle. So when you're doing that, you're taking these things and you're making it to where you can't take, 4 medium vulnerabilities to daisy chain them that someone is not going to ever address because they're focused so much on those criticals and highs. You're making it to where you are legitimately a harder target. And, CIS is a great way to do that because it's simple, it's easy to understand, and it kind of ties back to all the things that we already understand.
Yeah, and that was a big reason when we first met each other. I mean, we connected on this setting piece, and there's the empath shout out.
I had to. I couldn't help it, man. I couldn't help it. I had to do it
today. We're going to have our own configuration lesson popping up on empath. So you didn't even know that when you tossed that.
No, it was just kismet, man. It was kismet. This is awesome. Yeah.
All right.
Well, and I'll add on to what Josh said, because you guys can't shut me up yet easily. I will say that, it's always the fundamentals that get you killed. Same thing when it comes to just about anything. It's the fundamentals that execute you. And when you think about this, we just talked about principle of least privilege. We just talked about the ability of taking away stuff that you don't use. Why? Because I don't need you to pick it up and beat me to death with it. Right? And I think when we see things like living off the land tools and living down that world, more and more and more of using those techniques require us to harden ourselves and actually know where our position and posture is. So I'll get off my soapbox before I fall and break my neck, but I did want to add that in before we get going.
I have to kind of piggyback off of Matt and go.
All right, I'll just stop hosting. You guys
All right, self-muting.
What you got, Josh? What, you got something?
Yeah, but to this point, living off the land, deleting things that you don't need. How many organizations truly need SMB1 enabled versus how many, when I go in and do an evaluation, see that SMB1 is absolutely enabled, or they still have like TLS1 enabled on their environment. Like, these are absolutely fundamental, basic things that open you up to a wide range of vulnerabilities outside of the things that you are still trying to chase. And this is, a few clicks and any number of tools to make this just go away completely. So to Matt's point, living off the land, you're making it easy.
And you're going to make me just +1 as well with the whole Netflix show coming out, 0 Day, if we've tuned in. So cybersecurity mainstream nowadays. Netflix is now making movies about it. But to the standpoint, I've gotten in this conversation a few times, but the 0 Day attacks, whether you're prone or not prone, what are the chances of you having that, right? Having those hardened settings is going to make you less likely to.
And I don't need a 0 day to pick up a rock and beat you to death with it. At the end of the day, it's not even the 0 days that are the problem. It's the rock that I'm going to beat you to death with. Like Josh's point. Yeah.
All right, let's transition now to Misconfiguration Madness and talk about some of the rules here today. So let me share my window and we are good to go. So let's kick in. So there are going to be some rules. And of course, there is a way the setting is going to win. We up here are not going to be the end all say all, but we do have to follow some policies, if you will. So rule 1 are going to put ourselves in the shoes of an MSP where we can only choose one security setting. So there's no scenario where both teams win. And that's obviously to advance in the bracket, there has to be a winner. And not only that,
can we cut the baby in half? I heard that worked once in the Bible somewhere, if I remember.
If the recommendation is 14 character length, 7 is still unacceptable.
Okay, fair.
So on top of that, we will also have to assume in this environment, there's no other security layers. So we can't say, hey, complementary control, or what if they have? The answer is they don't have. We're talking strictly from a hardened perspective with no complementary controls in place. And the last thing here, we're going to talk about these. Our goal is for the viewers to understand more about these settings, understand the value of hardening, kind of like we just kicked off the episode with. But ultimately, we are going to get GPT to generate a score so that we can have a real agnostic winner, if you will. And our best way to make it as agnostic as possible is for me to show you the literal that we used. So no matter what we say here, we are going to have the score generated by ChatGPT, leverage the AI and its wonderful capabilities so that we can have agnostic results of this scenario. All right, I know Matt, Josh did all of your prep going into this. You already have your brackets filled out.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, mine will be exactly what the winning bracket is, just so you know. I'm no relation to me cheating.
Real talk.
No cap.
So any question?
So just that's how confident I am.
Okay.
All right. I love the who's smarter, the security practitioners or the AI? That'll be a real question 2 or 3 years. All right.
It's our AI overlords.
All right, let's head into game 1. As a heads up, there will be a shot clock timer or a buzzer beater timer just to keep us on pace because we do have 32 games matchups to look at. Since we're kicking off at the 9-ish, 10-minute mark, we should be just fine to go over a little bit, but we'll see how this flows. It's our annual game. All right, the first
worst case is we
matchup.
could have a second time for the bracket, right? Like if we get chatting about it too long, we could just have another bracket tomorrow or the next time, and finish this up.
Down to be part of the Sweet 16.
I'm in, bro. I'm in. We'll make this happen. Yeah.
I think once we get to the final 4 to fill up an hour, we should just do mock simulations against the Well, we will
give Bob Miller a call.
Which one wins?
Fair. Probably Josh.
All right, let's end. So game 1, we have the actual topic Josh brought into this with SMB1, the recommendation from CIS being to enable that driver, even though Microsoft verbiage is enabled to disable. And it's going up against the URL keyed anonymized data collection, also being set to disabled. So we do have some stat lines here, but is there any
V1 SMB's dead out? SMB1's dead, I believe.
16 seed upset out of the gate.
Bro, 100%. Yeah, final answer.
I mean, taking this very seriously from my perspective, like every onboardings I do, I would say 5 of them have an SMB1 finding. I mean, is this surprising to you guys?
I mean, should I be surprised? Yes. Am I surprised?
Am I surprised and should I be delineable?
Like the should is that unless you have extremely niche things that you're running some really old hardware, you should never have SMB1 enabled. So I should be 100% shocked that you have it. But my experience is no, it's everywhere.
And what is I guess, for again a little bit of agnostic in the 3-second buzzer beater, we all choose SMB1, but what is an SMB1 exploit?
Server message block.
There you go.
Sorry.
And the winner is we do have
SMB Walker. Yeah, I knew it. I called this stuff right, bro. Look at that. Man, I don't mess around.
So I know we talk about the one seed. The one seed's always exciting, but can anyone take the wheel here and tell us what is anonymized data collection? I mean, the UR keyed specifically.
I can make some conjecture, but I might just be stupid. My gut says, based on the context, it's around stopping any type of anonymized data that has some URL key of where I came from, potentially, or other things that identify me that allow them to still track that difference. So
yeah, it's literally just data leakage and making sure that is less likely to happen as possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Browser telemetry, sending it back somewhere of what you did, and it's a good.
You mean I might have just as much value out of knowing that you ship 10,000 MREs to a city than actually knowing that you're going to ship out a bunch of soldiers? It's blowing my mind right now. Metadata matters? No way, Joshua Copeland.
I know it's crazy talk. Sometimes context matters more than knowing the real thing. I'm like,
it's nuts. It's nuts. All right, no surprise there, right? Right, Zach? Like,
no, this was filled up in my bracket. No. Was going to be SMB1, especially with just the prevalence in today.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Shouldn't
Let's
be,
see what
though.
that game two, not game two, next game setup is. We got an audit pool setting. Audit security state change is set to only success. And then it's going up against enable predict network actions is set to enabled. Do not predict actions on any network.
I believe you might have misstated that. It is set to include success, not only success. I just want to make sure that we're specific on the statement here in that title, right?
Let's dive into that, because the other option is to include success and failure, or just failure. So I guess
as a man that knows this too well, nerd.
I'm asking you, Mr. CIS. Am I off? Maybe Josh.
I'm messing with you, man. I'm messing with you.
If it is set to include success, are we including anything outside of just success?
My gut says yes.
Like, to my understanding, yes. You include things that are other than success. Because the
you want the failures to know somebody's hammering on the wall. So, like, oh man, Zach, I love you, buddy. I'm just teasing. We'll figure it out. You know what? For you guys watching at home, I'm gonna go look it up and make sure I'm 100% right before I complete this out. But
I will say, you can double check CIS, but this is CIS because, again, to the rules of the games today, there's no.
Oh, that's right. No compensating, no other definition. All right, fair.
CIS does claim just success, and if this is set to just success, I guess I'm not positive if it is. Also,
no worries. I created a sidebar that I didn't need to. I'd like to withdraw and pull my flag back on the challenge. I apologize. That's on me. That's on me.
Right.
We can get this game back.
All right, we're good. Back to the challenge at hand. We got these two settings. Anyone have any comments? Who's going to win this matchup?
I think it's going to be the enable predict network actions.
I'd agree.
Because it's all about prefetch data. It has to come from somewhere. It can trigger your DNS and HTTP requests that you might not necessarily require. So that's my thought.
Yeah, I think there's an interesting part too, because the value of the second one, the predict network actions to enabled, is like do not protect, right? Or do not predict, which is to try to reduce that predictive aspect. I just don't think that one's going to be as big of a deal as the other one that's saying, hey, listen, I want to know when people like actually hook up and connect successfully. Guess what? Because that means a threat actor might be in.
So
right?
That actually is my pushback here, because my money's on the former, the audit security.
Yeah, but you might already know the scores. You're probably cheating from internal knowledge.
Well, you just gave the example, because if someone changes it, that's probably a sign someone's already in. That sounds like higher risk to me.
So, but here's my thing: is not having anything else other than knowing these two bits of information. Yep. One just tells me if someone successfully logged in, and the other one's actively preventing a potential exploit. So
Okay.
that's
Okay.
my rationale.
Okay. Yeah. It's a good argument.
I like it. All right, Austin, anything you want to add here? We should go see the winner.
I took enable predict network actions, but we'll see how it plays out.
All right, let's give this a whirl. Ooh, about equal, according to the AI Overlord. A very close matchup. All right, 1 for 2 as a group here. We got the next matchup coming in. Oh, this is my favorite. Not a lot of people always are familiar with this setting, but act as part of the operating system is set to no one versus enable guest mode in browser is set to disabled.
Oh man, there's
My
two.
money's
That's a heads up, bro. Oh man, that's a prob. Like on the left side, you have this ability to say maybe somebody shouldn't be system. Like we shouldn't be able to impersonate system. That's probably not great. And that stops escalation. But in the same breath, like you have this balance of guest access means I can bring other identities, escape the actual purview of plugins and restrictions. And oh man, I'm on the dang fence on this one, boys. I don't know where I fall. There's a statistical delineation.
I mean, sorry, Josh, my dark horse for this tournament was act as part of an operating system, because being able to be an admin in disguise I think that causes a lot of red flags from my perspective. But love to hear what you have to say, Josh.
Yeah, just thinking about this again with the rules of the tournament, where I have to just only look at these two specific settings and take nothing else into effect. I think act as a part of the operating system definitely is the riskier one of the
I'm
two.
taking dark horse and going to browser guest mode because that's where the user's fingertips land. I know it's wrong, but I'm going there, boys.
All right, let's see what we got at the buzzer beater. Ooh, act by operating system takes a big lead.
I'm going to see myself out. I'm getting popped. Done.
And just calling back to the top, the quiz, the closer they are weighted need, if you will, or security value. So this being a blowout is AI.
No, you don't have to rub it in, bro. Like I got you, Zach. I understood the math when it first laid down. You know what I mean? 82 to 64 in basketball is a problem. And 82 to 64 in football is a real problem. You got real nothing defense, boys.
That'll be the playoffs next year. We'll get the setting madness.
Oh man.
All right, the next one here. Configure packet level privacy setting for incoming connection is set to enabled versus turn off heap termination on corruption is set to disabled.
Ooh, man. Oh man. So you've got on one side, you have heap level where that almost kills almost any heap overflow attack as a basis. I'm being a little summative. Or you have remote procedure call methodologies not being set to private, and there's interception and replay risk. Gosh, man, you got me on a problem of being network layer and being able to smell those RPC packets or get them. And on the other side, you've got me on risk posture on heap overflows. This is terrible. This is a terrible matchup.
I'll let Matt ponder on this a little bit more. I'm going to turn off heap termination because
I'm with you, Josh.
The perspective of if my server's on fire, I want something to take and put that out. You know, the privacy part for data in transit is huge, but between the two, just these two, I would say that, you know, is the more important of these two.
But RPC lets me control stuff, and replay of those and manipulation of those gets wild. So I'm going to take the antithesis and disagree. I'm actually going to take RPC. All right. I just want to fight with Josh before we're done with this. So
the battle of the beards.
Well, he's a beautiful man. I got to get him angry at me. You know what I mean?
The winner of the round. A close matchup to the RPC as their next round advances.
Oh.
Who thought we'd have a misconfiguration madness? This is madness.
Oh, this is crazy. This is battle right now. Duke and it's nuts. It's nuts.
All right, what do we got next? Oh, diagnostic data is set to enabled. Diagnostic data off. Does Microsoft need your data, or do they already have it?
Let's just pause for a second and say how stupid is this is on off. Like have to do the double negative math to figure out Microsoft settings. I don't want to be that guy, but
oh no, you and me both. Like, do not force Control Alt Delete. It boggles my mind. I can't read very well to begin with.
I'm sorry.
Anyway.
I mean, you mean I have to do math and determine whether it's an even number or odd number of negative to determine whether it's actually negative or positive.
Was one of those negatives in a parentheses? Because PEMDAS might screw us on this one, right? Like,
oh man. The competitor turn off cloud consumer account state content is set to enabled. Business device, I don't think anything consumer, so my bet is on the consumer for me personally.
Also, because I can't do the math on whether that means diagnostic data is back on or not, I'm gonna take the right side just for my own. Like, I can pronounce their name. It's not Sakatoya State or something. Like, yeah.
So in true tradition, I'm going to take the allow diagnostic data set to enable diagnostic data.
Sure. No, that's my anti-Matt. Yeah.
So I'm going to be anti-Matt and say that for me, being able for that stuff being sent or not being sent is a universal, might always happen, where the cloud part depends on what your usage case is.
Out of curiosity, is there any, and this is a random question, but do we know what diagnostic data is being sent? Is there any control on that from Microsoft with this set? Is it confined to a certain type of diagnostic data?
I'm just rolling dice over here, boss. I'm just rolling dice. I don't even know.
Let's see how the AI scores this.
Diagnostic telemetry is
the winner.
Oh man, you got me on that one, Josh. We're eating up, man. We're eating up. It's just buzzer beater after buzzer beater, basket after basket.
All right, we got allow download restrictions is set to enabled, block malicious downloads. That sounds like
logical.
An obvious one.
That seems pretty logical, homie.
Versus
you know what though?
Windows NTP client is set to enabled. Ooh.
Oh man, no, like I feel weird on this one because if you don't have your NTP client set to have synchronized time, then logs are useless when being brought somewhere.
Yeah.
And if logs are useless and you can't tell what that dead body is, now I'm going to take the Josh Copeland approach and say, well, I can't look at all the other controls, and I have to say, do I want to protect somebody or do I want to be able to tell what killed them? And I'll take protect. I'm going left. I'm going to go block malicious downloads.
And I look at that stat line. I think there's a heavy advantage on the left too. Let's see what you got, Josh.
I'm going left, and it's NTP by itself is not super helpful. NTP relies on you having all these other things to make it useful. But
boy, you can tell what happened to that dead guy. You know what I mean, Josh? That's what's cool about it. You know exactly when he was shot, and that's nice.
Hey, tell us security practitioners.
Active attack. So I'm looking at for defense in depth. You know what thing actually protects my client. Allow download restrictions set to enable block malicious downloads.
And the winner here is the one. Yep. And tell us, security practitioners, why is it so valuable to know when something happened? Why is that timestamp just critical in the post-incident world?
Oh, you or me, Josh?
You start, then I'll
all right, cool. All right. So when you're trying to figure out what happened, order of operands matters, right? Kill chain matters. Did this happen first or did that? Because the context shifts. If one happened before the other, then now I have other things I'm missing or things I don't understand. And so what can happen is in the intent of trying to decide, are we contained? Can we move to eradication? Can we move to recovery and get this guy back up and running? In that time, our people could be operators that are confused by the wrong timestamps and start making bad decisions and not really know what happened. So it comes down to that point, and Josh said it well in this last piece, which is, do I want to be able to protect, or do I want to kind of be able to say what happened and have things? NTP alone isn't going to save me, but it will help me know what happened to the dead bodies and know how to stop somebody else from spreading. Or did I actually evict that threat actor or not? That might be dictated based on the way those operands lay out. And Josh and Bob Miller said it well, sequence of actions determination.
So I'm going to take a slightly different tack on it and go away from just the threat actor and determining what happened when, but your network time protocol is absolutely critical to your cryptography that you're working on.
Oh,
so you're using TLS, you're using any type of those things. It's all based off of time. So if you have the wrong time, you potentially break your ability to do access to applications, access to cryptography, because the time is wrong. Therefore, it can't do the proper math to sync your cryptography.
It's almost like there should be a technique called time stomping or something. We almost just made something up together, Josh. This is amazing. Yeah. It's almost a nuance that nobody's ever talked about. It's time stomping. I digress.
All right, let's see what the next matchup is.
I feel so nerdy right now, just so y'all know. I don't want to like lie about it at all in any way in my heart. So.
Brother, we are in here talking about CIS Benchmark. These aren't even the controls. We're talking about the
you're not
granular
wrong.
of the granular of configuring a Windows OS and some browser settings mixed in here. All right. Disable I can't even talk. This is certificate transparency enforcement for a list of URLs is set to disable, which is a double negative. Minimize the number of simultaneous connections to the internet or a Windows domain is set to enabled, which I will note from experience. This one has caused some of our partners disruption.
So I'll go first, and I'll say that I will go with the disable certificate transparency enforcement. And my rationale on this is it doesn't matter as much how many connections I have. It matters where those connections are to. It's one of those things where if I can't verify where I'm connecting to, and that's what that whole certificate process is about, is making sure the thing I'm connecting to is the thing that it says it is, and you have that certificate trust chain. You know, if I have 15 things I'm connecting to and I limit it down to 5, if they're all bad things, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm with Josh on this, 100%. The other side of it does come down to a number of connections, but I only need one to kill you. I don't need all of them.
All right. I also linking this back to phishing as well. I mean, looking at the goal of this team, real mantra, making sure the real URLs are shown and that you can make at least an extra decision-making moment as they looks at every URL they click. So let's see who the winner is. We got a sounding room. Correct. Amazing. Woo!
I don't know why they give such high weighting, though, to the other score. I'm curious what it thought that I didn't. I don't know. Interesting.
Well, we can always circle back for negative Sweet 16.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, because it's going to take us till next week because we're going to get through this slowly. We're just have to pick a stop point at about an hour.
All right, we got network security. Do not store LAN manager hash value on next passwords change is set to enabled versus enable autofill for addresses is set to disabled. We got a little bit of
I'll take the first one.
Physical risk versus
no, I'll take the
security
first one. Slam dunk. You really come down to it as like at some point you could work your way away from Active Directory and be an Azure Active Directory where you don't have something stored in NetTL in the NetLM, right? And not having something that I can actually dump, that I can take hashes and crack or use rainbow tables. And then like, let's really be honest. What is the actual speed of like actual number of characters in your Wi-Fi password? Is it as long as mine? Is Zach Kromowski is my favorite hero? If it is, then you're probably fine. It's going to be very hard to crack. Oh, I may have said too much. But the point is that storing those hashes, don't store hashes. Put them in the TPM. Store nonces. Let's prove I'm me. Don't store hashes. All right, I'm done.
Yeah, I can't say any more than Matt did. You know, LMM is insecure. It's obsolete. It still exists. It's easy to crack with rainbow tables. You know, it's a favorite target for credential dumping, offline brute force attacks. Like,
100%.
Why enable it? Like, why should it be?
Yeah. How did this matchup even happen, Zach? How'd they make it here? Did they get a large seed round at the end or something? Like, how did this team make it here on autofill?
Hey, they won the conference tournament, man. You know,
man, we need to fix that next year, bro.
I think we got a bracket update. Is anyone updating their bracket in real time for us to share a little update on what this looks like? I think I might have to do that during the next discussion.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do it for next session and see where we stand. You know, it's a battle, bro.
This one,
and I think anybody gets extra points if they actually find the CIS benchmarks to have any correlative value to the CIS safeguards. I'm done. I'll see myself out.
Well, I could tell you about a platform that has that, Matt.
It's fair.
I did have it.
I know a guy. I've seen him.
But I figured it was already busy enough, so I just wrote the policy instead.
Fair.
All right. Matchup, we are in for good old W Digest. Authentication is set to disabled versus privacy screen is always enabled. I will note I've had one W Digest find in the last year, so they are still out there.
I mean, I don't even have to speak here.
So we just let the 1 seed win.
Yeah, I think we can pop forward. Like I think we just know they're going to crush that other team. Yeah, if Florida comes back, I'll say something. I apologize.
Like one's a UI choice and the other one is actual security. So easy enough.
Yeah.
And with 30 seconds on the clock, they actually called the game early for an easy win by W Digest.
Called the game early. Boys, I know you're in the NFL or college over here, but can we just step off the court? Like let's wrap this up, boys. Like, we're done here, okay? Come on. Y'all don't want to be embarrassed anymore. Let's head to the locker room.
Take the money for being the top 32 and
Yeah, right. Yeah, your school's doing good next year, man. Let's just wrap it up before it gets more embarrassing. All right.
Access Credential Manager as a trusted caller is set to no one versus turn on virtualization-based security is set to enable. I will call out one note here for the CIS benchmarks. On Windows 10, the virtualization setting is actually a level 2, but on Windows 11, a level 1. So it is a recommendation everyone should follow. What do we got on this one?
I think I'm going to go with the security set to enable, just because you have a lot of things that you have the ability to break out of that virtual security and then do other things in the environment. Basically, it's a issue of you're creating additional OSs that are potentially unsecure. Just the access credential manager being set to no one.
And hopefully that credential manager's fairly open and fairly empty, other than whatever you have to store. Hopefully, even we just took away that password a minute ago with that win we saw earlier, right? So I'm assuming these are cumulative. If you win, that setting stays. I know it. Anyways, I digress. I'm on the right. I'm taking the kernel integrity.
That would be tough. Yeah. Call a complementary control. That's
yeah. You're like, oh, 32 games ago I had a comp control. Like, you're not counting that, Zach? Jeez, bro.
Sorry, never get NIL transfer portal. It's gone.
You just have to give new messages back to the LLM every time from the win of the last one. Please remember that you have this setting disabled. Like, bro, that's all you had to say.
When I made my slide saying the prompt, you were the first you gave me the inspiration to do that because you generated an image. Here's the prompt that generated the image.
I've been doing that for years. Jason taught me that.
I can't generate the score because people are going to say I made it biased.
Yeah,
like I got to share.
Here's the prompt, boys. Look at it. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Who was the winner?
Who won?
Ooh, that's close. That was a close game, but we do have virtualization.
Yeah. It's really about the kernel protection, right? If you can get down below that, you can do so many other things, as Josh kind of alluded to. So it's protecting the kernel.
All right. Ooh, I like this. Third-party cooking blocking is set to disallow third-party cooking versus good old print nightmare.
Did you call it cooking or cookies? Are you hungry right now, Zach?
It is dinner time. I've had half a beer.
I feel you. Okay.
As well. And they're going up against Print Spooler.
Nothing's ever been attacked using Print Spooler. This is stupid. We should stop talking. Oh wait, Print Nightmare. That was the one. I'm gonna guess it's the right side. If I had to take a guess.
CVEs? There's no way, Matt. CVEs can be a config change.
You could almost have 3 of them back to back, and they don't actually fix it, even though they say they do. I'm not saying it was in this situation, but you could.
I mean, nobody's been breached by an open print spooler. Not once, not ever. That's
negative, Ghost Rider. Negative Ghost Rider. All right, we can move on. This game's done.
And given the real world exposure, managing this setting, this is still something a lot of MSPs do get nervous about before changing. So there is still an uncertainty of possible disruption. Are they ready to remediate this? And that's still happening today. So again, we're doing this to make configurations a little bit more prominent and aware, but at the same time, they do stuff, people. They're critical. Configure your assets. Matt can tell you what the asset is.
There is a value about third-party cookies, but that's much more around tracking and OSINT and other things there than it is about this. So it's going to be a hard win on the right. Yeah.
Yep. No doubt. I think after a little bit of a rocky start, we're getting on the same page with this.
Yeah, we're figuring this out. Figuring it out. Yeah.
All right. Oh, we got a little firewall mixed in here. The private layer, to be clear, having that on. And then it's going against autoplay for non-volume devices is set to enabled.
Interesting.
I mean, it goes back to I have to compare these two things based
the only one or the other.
And I'd have to go with the firewall because that's got a broader range because not every device is going to have something you're going to plug in that is a non-volume device that's a USB or something.
Besides, I won't need to use a USB because you're going to leave your laptop unlocked in some numpty-ass airport lounge. I can promise you. So we're good. You're right. I'm with Josh on this one.
If we really take this expense serious, there is no other settings in place. So there's no machine activity timeout. There's no control delete. There's no. It's open.
Yeah. Yeah. So the autoplay means Matt's walking by you, and the firewall means anybody can buy a Google ad and attack you. So let's just probably go with the broader one that Josh called out. That's the one I'd go with. I guess that's what I thought.
I do like using a rubber ducky when I'm in, a Centurion lounge.
Yeah.
That can be
I
fun.
never do it in front of the DHS office.
No, that would be bad.
I also like calling out because sometimes the winner is chosen a little preemptive. So here you go, Ray. Right at the buzzer beater. Boom. There's the score.
Yeah, that's a big beat. That's a big one. I go home, disable autoplay. And to add to that, which I wasn't going to muddy this up, autoplay is disabled on most Windows systems by default now anyway. You already have an aspect of, I had to turn it on to demonstrate autoplay attacks the other day. And so I think there's an interesting part where I would say we're probably fine there.
Hey, let's make it even muddier. Anyone have opinions on the difference? Because everything that is not configured still has a behavior associated with not configured. What's the difference from explicitly configuring versus default state? Is there any value there?
Just means you'd have to have system level control to override one that was not set before, which means one would already have escalation in my mind.
To my point, my thought on that is explicitly doing it means that you should, at least in theory, have a mechanism that if it has been changed, to put it back, and maybe you have a log that indicates that who changed it, and you might be able to figure out a timeline based on that and kind of narrow.
Only if you have NTP.
Yeah,
busting myself out.
NTP's not associated.
Yeah, we got rid of that. We lost that game, bro. He's already on the bus back home. Yeah.
And I love Ray talking about why you don't even need to change the policy.
Glue all the ports.
Just get rid of the ports. Just fill them up.
Just have a capacitor ready to short out onto it. Like
mouse that is USB, and you're re-imaging a system because you had an attack, and you can't use the Bluetooth or the wireless keyboard, and then you actually need those USB ports.
It's true, but at least you'll have a keyboard permanently glued to the machine at that point, based on Ray's methodology, so you won't ever miss one again. You know what I mean?
I'm worried by Kelly here. It sounds like he might have seen that.
I've worked in environments, he says.
I have definitely worked in environments in my military career where we did go around with super glue and fill in the USB ports, except for one for a keyboard and one for a mouse.
That's so awesome. Yay, epoxy for the win.
Oh man. All right, what we got next? We got disable one setting downloads is set to enabled versus autoplay is set to enabled for all drives. So we're changing this up from just the non-volume to now all drives. So what do we got here? One setting versus all drives autoplay.
I'd go left. I think that's a lie. Exploitability, autoplay exploitability. Come on, bro. All right, fine. I don't know, man. I'm going to lose here, but I'm going to lose with purpose. And I'm going to say I want to lock down people's ability to manipulate settings than I do the auto run of malware. Again, it goes back to Joshua's proximity challenge.
Yeah, I want to believe that. However, I think the disable autoplay on all devices is maybe a little better because you have, opportunities for non-disk type devices and all drives to.
I brought my AOL CD. I'm knocking you down, bro.
I mean, I've seen worse.
Want to get on AIM still? It's over.
That is where the origins of Kali come from. Is somebody needed to do a pen test in a completely media-less environment, and they did a live boot on one of the machines inside. So yeah, it checks out.
Oh, and we do have Ray Orzine agreeing with you, Matt. So what do we got as the winner as the time goes out to keep Ray?
It's going to be the right side, unfortunately.
It was the right side.
But I think you're wrong, LLM. I'm going to go on record that Matt LM would have got that right. There are two people making Matt Lee LLMs out there.
Isn't there an LLM marketplace by now? I'll buy that in Sweet 16 powered by.
What would Matt say LLM? It's WWMS LLM. Yeah.
Also, to give Ray Orzine a personal shout out, at CCF just 2 weeks ago, he said he hasn't logged on LinkedIn in over a year.
Oh boy,
and
good to be here.
I believe Austin reaching out personally is right here during the live stream interacting. We love you, brother. All right.
You say that, but if you talk to a very much younger Josh with more hair, that may have been a true statement.
Fair. All right, what do we have here? Set client connection encryption level is set to enabled high level. We want high level encryption. Is Cray talk. Configure enhanced anti-spoofing is set to enable. Man, we got us a matchup here, boys. This is
Yeah,
wild.
this is ooh.
I mean, I teach cryptography, so I have to say set the connection encryption level to high level because, you know,
Phipps would kill you.
And that would being the cryptography professor and saying no.
I'm with you on that. Only because I think anytime you're connecting to ransomware deployment protocol, you should have the most secure methodology. You do connect to your ransomware deployment protocol. So in my mind, protect that RDP, boys. I'm going left.
Isn't the right more to do with the identity access and whatnot? Isn't that like the whole jazz today? Everything's identity based. Is it not?
What?
Underdog upset on the right?
On the right, talking about anti-spoofing on
Yeah.
identities, increased security protection of the network. I see where you're going with this. But they're talking about anti-spoofing, I think, from an internal network MAC address perspective, and I believe that delineation matters. So I'm going to take the left side still. I could be wrong, but I'm taking that left side.
All right. And we got the buzzer beater here coming in. It was close.
Ah, sweet. Now,
Cryptologist wins.
I will tell you, if you're trying to block like LLMNR or other things that might be trying to do spoofing of MAC addresses, I'd probably agree. I think that's what that's for. So that's local though, and it goes back to the Joshua complex, which is which one's more broad in this scenario, and it would be the left
That's
one.
true.
I do want to say that I believe that the anti-spoofing is tied to liveness checks for biometric login.
Is it?
So when you're logging in to make sure that, like, you know, it's
So this is
Josh is
crossover
actually
error
there.
rate focused, not it's really talking about biometric validation and spoofing. Is that what this is?
Yeah. It's is it actually Josh or is it a picture of Josh?
Yeah.
You know, is it my
I didn't know that's what that
fingerprint?
setting was.
They-
Interesting. I'd like
Yeah.
I'd like to double check that. But if that is, I would also say I don't need that. You're going to leave it unlocked in an airport lounge, as I already discussed. So it doesn't matter. I don't need to spoof you. You're going to leave it open and go to the pisser.
We can dive into that setting because we're going to have so much free time. We're halfway through already.
Oh man.
I'm actually
We're at
cutting it
42
close.
minutes of our hour. What do you mean halfway through and we have free time? What are you talking about?
Oh, you're right. It's only a few days. Yeah, the audit pool versus audit pool battle
process
right here.
creation.
What would
Audit
tell you
log
more
on is-
post-incident, or I mean, you can think of this setting however you want.
It's the
but,
left side. It's the left side.
It's going to be left side. I care more about the things that create audit requirements than just someone logging in or failing to log in. From the context of something bad is going to happen.
Additionally, that you have a clipping level that isn't directly honored by that, right? And so if you don't have the intelligence to set a clipping level and say that's just Matt being drunk in the morning as usual, and he's going to type it in 4 times wrong before. I'm with Josh on this. I'd stay left and say one of my biggest things that I'm looking for is once something lands, evades EDR. I certainly want to know when it creates another process or spins off into another process. And yeah, that needs to happen. I need to know when that's.
I think I'm going to go against the grain here because
you've already read the answers.
It's going to be no. I mean, this is. I made these all, be very transparent with the audience. I made these all in a row, so I don't have this memorized. But would it not be too much noise? Because we're suggesting no other complementary controls, no log aggregator, no SIM.
Oh yeah, you're making the same argument against my argument. That's fair.
Oh, okay, well, here we go. Let's see who gets it.
I still have the right time.
All right, see,
no, you made a fair argument. I got lost in those beautiful eyes of data and didn't remember they have no data aggregation capabilities. It just got me again. It got me again.
You tossed EDR to the conversation. This is a config webinar, man. What are you doing?
Yeah, I know.
I'm still going with audit process creation because even if I don't have NTP, the time is still consistent across the device.
I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm going with Josh. I think this was an upset. I don't think it should happen. I'd actually see if the ball was deflated or something. You know what I mean? You never know.
Setting gate under review. All right. We got SMB1 server is set to disabled.
Come on, bro.
Versus a Matt favorite. I think Matt has to go with the right side, but
really? You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I mean, you see it in the comments.
I understand.
Right. Are you allowed
but the problem is that I am more likely to probably beat you to death with an exposed SMB V1 when I land lateral. I don't know. I'm taking it. I'm going to the right. And Ray, I always lock your devices when I'm around too. So
you're scaring everyone in the audience, man. Everyone's locking their computers as we're watching this.
You'll go
Audio
right. You're right.
only.
I can't not go right. Or fewer seconds, but not zero, which means it just can't be infinite. And I like that. That has an immediate value. The problem is the left one's going to win because everything we know in our world is very, very, very old school network centric. Of everything's going to be lateralization and everything that I love it so much, and everything's going to be. I don't agree with this, but I know it's going to win because the LLM's conditioned with the stupid failures of the past, not the future where we live. So I'm going to leave it that way.
I also love Josh real time while on the live stream.
Oh man, I hate this question. I know what's going to happen. The right side's going to lose, but it should win.
And the buzzer
And
beater.
call this session hijacking. It's not session hijacking when I take your whole laptop and walk out. It's whole laptop hijacking.
Ray, audience, man. Initially, they were all here for Matt, but Josh is making some points here.
Heck yeah.
All right. Very much SMB, obvious exposure needs to be taken care of. Only can choose one. All right.
And to be fair, anywhere I'm on that airport wireless, if I have that SMB1 open, I'll probably just do some things against SMB1 server there, right? And get hashes, things like that.
I think I already know where Josh is going here, but password manager is explicitly configured versus encryption Oracle remediation is set to enabled force updated clients. One shout out here to not really shout out, but one call out rather. Look at how the setting is recommended via CIS. Password man explicitly configured. It doesn't say disabled. And I want to note that.
Do you know why? Do you know why?
I don't know why. You want to tell me why? Do you know why?
Okay, Cisco, Talos, read the write-up, right? Like the point is that they don't know where the password should be stored. And this is more about saying, I know where the passwords should be stored. I will configure it as off because they're going to be using a password manager, or I will configure it as on because they will be using this password manager. And if you're not configuring one of them, you're a numpty.
Yeah. All right, what's our choices?
I'll go left.
I'm going right.
Oracle encryption remediation. I'm the cryptography professor. Got to go cryptography. Patch or die.
Hey, this will be convenient. I'll store my password for work in my personal Gmail account that you didn't stop me from. But this is super dope. It makes it easy.
And with the buzzer beater.
It's going to be the right side, but I hate it for it.
It was the right side. I mean, what? I hear what you're saying. I know. I don't know. It's, of course.
Oh, I got both. I'm not angry with this outcome. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it was as close as it was. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, this both of them knew they had to go to the basket hard, and they had to go hard in the paint to try to win, and they just couldn't. You know what I mean?
I should have put the bracket numbers on the slide. We'll be pulling up the bracket after this, but it was a random order of the settings, and it'd be funny. All right. Enable or disable spell checking web service is set to disable.
Hey, Goggle's great. It's great. Goggle's great.
Actually, when Goggle knows what you're typing to tell you, it's
yeah.
Require site isolation for every site is.
That's
set
pretty
to
dope.
enable.
I go right, hardcore right.
Easy.
Yeah, right all the way.
Yeah.
Typo squatting is one thing, but if I'm not isolating the browser, it doesn't matter anyway.
Right. Yeah. And browser isolation and tab isolation helps limit browser level context abuse from things there. So I like, the cross-site scripting call out, right? So I think there.
And for the audience, or and whatnot, these are all settings you can do today. No third-party tool needed. You can configure it yourself. You can walk away here with a much more.
Just bring your chalkboard and your abacus so you can count the double negatives, triple negatives, quadruple negatives, quintuple negatives.
Or you can have Sension
Goggle
play
negatives.
the green one. 14 seconds. I'm not allowed to click it before because I don't need Ray yelling at me again.
Oh, Ray's getting mad at the early buzzers? We already knew they were done. We're giving them a towel and heading into the locker room. Come on.
They're just trying to go home, trying to get on the bus.
Yeah, man.
The Gatorsville, man.
They got a sketty dinner on the way home.
All right. And the winner is
winners, man. Spaghetti's for winners.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had that one. I had that one pegged. I knew that one.
Security practitioners, what is there any reason not to do the winner here? Is there any user behavior disruption or reason they'd be upset?
Viruses and malware have much more trouble doing cross-site scripting, so that's a pain in the ass. But other than that, no, I don't think so.
The only scenario I can think of is if you're a developer, and if you are and you do need to be able to do that,
Bad
That's
practices.
a device and a VM that isn't connected to anything, and that's a whole other set of things.
Yeah. We don't have compensating controls for that. You're just a numpty. It's okay. I'm not mad. I just don't like it, Matt Lee. True story. Yep, that's
There's my
accurate.
next
I stand by it.
Webinar, I can do that.
It's accurate. Yeah.
All right. Force Google Safe Search is set to enabled versus prevent users from sharing files within their profile is set to enabled.
I mean,
I got to go right on this one.
Yeah,
I'm
probably
right.
go right. I think the safe search is useless as blanks on a boar hog. So, yeah.
Man, we're going to sit here for 45 seconds, though.
Josh, did you say right as well? Are we on the same page, you and my bearded brother? Yeah. All right. Let's move forward. I don't care. Ray, I'm sorry, bro. We're moving forward. 38 seconds is a long time to waste.
All right. We were correct yet again. Prevent enabling lock screen camera is set to enabled. Oh, this would be
so
fun.
Prevent enabled. So I'm going to prevent enabling. So I can't enable my lock screen camera. So that's a triple negative if I count that right. And that means that I'm now not letting you not enable that thing when I want you to not enable it. That's perfectly clear. The other side says UAC admin approval mode for built-in admin is set into enabled. Requires admin approval. It's just basically saying built-in admin has to escalate. I'm going to go right. Hardcore.
Yeah. 100%.
Right all the way. There are some reasons why you might want to enable the security camera when the computer's locked. If you're using Windows Hello as your authentication, that you have to look at the screen and blink a few times.
If you're a member of the NSA and you want to take over machines like they did with that one cool malware they did for Samsung TVs, then yeah, totally need to do that.
There's nothing my NSA agent doesn't already know about me.
They're very friendly, gentle even.
I
love that my wife just cracked up over that.
Waiting for the bands to come up.
But yeah, UAC, just because I have admin rights doesn't mean I should be using them. I should have to do something specific so I'm not the dumbass who accidentally invokes my privilege.
And it helps escape those things that a systemic level can't escape when it's running as that user. It can't see that if it's on its screen. So I'm assuming
you mean like Tenable, where you have to disable UAC for it to run right?
No, come on, Josh. I don't throw shade on people like Inable or T. Anyways. Prevent enabling lock screen camera, and we won 81-68. Yeah, checks out.
All right. And I was just about to.
We beat that player to death, and they got to see it because the camera was definitely on.
One thing I was actually going to call this out, talking about just because it's built-in admin or just because you have admin. One of the account lockout policies allows admins not to adhere to the account lockout policies. So even if you have these set up, make sure the admin is actually
throw things at Henry Tim in a sec.
Follow it. And we even have Henry Tim commenting here.
I'm gonna throw things. He knows he's trying to get me to throw things. This is how you get ants. So the left side over here says lockout is at least 5 or less, and the right side Windows Firewall, public firewall set to on. So you have one that's saying let's at least block inbound traffic from everywhere that seems itself public, and one that says, hey, let's let things have a clipping level of at least a native setting of 5, and after that the lockout occurs. That's tough, but I'll probably take public firewall.
See, I'll take public firewall because again, the computer's already unlocked.
Yeah,
because you're at the airport and
airport, drinking, flirting with that person you're not supposed to flirt with next to you. All those things. That's definitely what's
no inactivity timeout or anything. It's already.
I've got a whole book of the reasons people leave them open. It's amazing. It's amazing.
When's the scrapbook coming out of all your photos? Is that coming?
I should make a scrapbook. I'll even start taking pictures with the laptop. So or something. It's gonna be great. Little that was close. Photo booth. I'll carry around some big sunglasses.
That was a high-scoring game. Look at Bob even calling it out. 80-84. This was tough.
It is a tough call.
I'm with y'all. I thought Wright was gonna win, but I do like the fact that if there's a brute force attack, attempt, at least you'll get that trigger. You'll get that alert. With the 5 attempts or less. I don't know. It was.
Austin. I hate saying this, bro, but I don't know, man, because you're not going to get that alert because there are no compensating controls. Ain't nobody looking at it, right? This thing's just chilling out there in the cold. So
the fault is the accounts unlock themselves after a period of time anyway. So
it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah,
I'm good. I'll take the firewall.
We haven't set the 15-minute. Yeah.
Wait 15 minutes.
This is actually a really good conversation because this one policy on the left is effectively effectiveless without the other literal like settings that tie together in the other AL things.
Yeah.
That's a good call out. All right.
You're a nerd. You just called out ALP. Is that admin
Sorry.
log on protection?
It's an acronym. Account. All right. Enable insecure guest logon is set to disabled because that's a great way
I'm going to enable that disablement, my man, and it's going to be secure because it's not insecure any longer. Yeah.
And then we got just a setting. Yesterday we were doing an onboarding, and the new partner goes, "Oh, this is just a small shop. A bunch of nice old ladies. They love this button. We can't get rid of that password."
Oh, Bob Miller's so on the point. No control is valid if you're not watching. If a tree falls in the forest, does it actually happen? And you don't hear it? I don't think so. It doesn't make a sound, bro. I'm with you. So on this one, the guest access is the biggest piece. Like, you shouldn't have guest access available, period. Not let alone freaking unrestricted. Murder that guest, take him out back, small little hole, little bit of lie, cover it up, get out of here, boys. Like, that one's the win.
Yeah. Like, if you have guest enabled, just don't do anything. Just open the door and say,
yeah, come on in, boys. And I don't need to see your password because, again, you've left it open in the airport. So here we find ourselves. It's the left side all day. It's going to be 84 to 68.
And to Matt's point, if you're leaving it open in the airport, where else are you leaving it open?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
84 to 64 was the guess, and we got.
I said 84 to 68. Oh, so close. So close. Dang.
Holy shit.
Man, I'm in this LLM's head right now, bro. Hey, Bob, we don't talk about burying them in the greenhouse. I don't have one tile that moves that's concrete for that purpose. We don't talk about that, my man. We don't talk about that. You've heard of composting? Man, I compost.
Oh, dude, I got into that a few months ago. It's pretty cool. I'm looking at making a little worm farm next.
True story.
All right. We got about 9 more matchups. We got configure solicited remote assistance is set to disabled versus UAC behavior of elevation prompt says to standard users to set automatically deny elevation requests. Now, we are talking about this from a security perspective, not a usability perspective. There's probably only like 5 people that I know who actually harden the setting on the right.
It's going to be the left. It's going to be the left for social engineering attacks, for bring your own tools, for living off the land. I think if this LLM that's deciding this game has done any research around modern attacks and what's playing out, I think that left side is going to be the one. I mean, I really do.
I'm going to disagree, and I think it's the right side. Yes, the right side, because you're automatically denying escalation for privilege request. So you're not giving them the opportunity to escalate their privilege from a standard.
But if you take away local admin rights, they can't escalate themselves. Oh, wait, we don't have compensating controls. We don't have compensating controls. Damn, you make an argument that is very valid, Joshua Copeland. I don't know where it's going to go, my man. I don't know where it's going to go.
Oh, man.
So
I just don't know. I'm going to throw my heart in on the left side, though, because I just think that I can reach out and touch you from anywhere there. And on the right side, I've got to get on you already. And then I'm already going to be there, girl. So it's the left side.
Ooh, it was
you got it wrong. You got it wrong.
And I could have gone either way, but I went that way. Just
let's do a quick education here on this solicited remote assistance. Is this effectively Microsoft's version of RMM, remote access?
Yeah. It's built in as remote support. It's already enabled. It's got capabilities of being deployed as part of Intune's enhanced package. And you already see an overarching aspect of people starting to say, no, I'm not using Screen Connect. Don't let it run. I'm not using log me in 123. Don't let it run. And so now you have this native tool that's laying there. And again, I'll reference you back. My granddad always told me, don't jump me in a rock pile because I'll sure as hell pick up a rock. And that there is a rock. And I can just pick it up and hit you with it. And so it's one of those things where it's taking an extra stance in your 2.x capabilities and really talking about, do I use this product or not? Anyways.
Love it. These are good awareness things. And thanks, Bob, for appreciating this. This is entertaining, man. I got myself out here because this was Austin's idea. We've been working our ass off for the last week to put this together. So
this is fun.
It was a bit of a grind to pull off in time because it was last minute of an idea.
I'm glad I didn't get to see any of these and research them either. This is just a blast.
That was part of the plan.
Wait, we were supposed to research these first?
Well, you could have seen the bracket. The bracket was available to everyone to make.
Jack, I'm going to tell you, I prepare my slides for stage with Jason Slagle sitting in the room beside the stage 7 minutes before. So like that's my level of time-based preparation in general. I wouldn't change that here.
The webinar series for, I think, Chrome hardening with us, and you were just like, I didn't look at a single one of these slides. What were we doing today? And I was like, dude, this is my season fucking opener.
All God's children got
you rocked it. You rocked it. You always do. All right, we got to finish up the matchups. Audit user account management is set to success and failure versus good old NTLM v2, making sure, again, to also refuse LM and NTLM because there is a setting that only is send NTLM v2 responses only, but not refuse.
It's right all day long. You know, why are you still using unsecure legacy protocols that you shouldn't have? Yes, auditing is great, but to Bob's point, if no one's watching it, what does it matter?
Exactly.
All right.
I'll add color to this too in saying that, like, at the end of the day, NTLM v2 and refusing legacy protocols, for me, if I was tackling this from a reasonableness perspective, I sure would beat you to death in court with that, right? Like, you mean tell me you don't care enough that you've even done a single cursory aspect to remove something that hadn't been used for how many years? No, explain to me. How many years ago did you stop using this? You don't even know? How do you not even know? It says use secure configuration protocols, and 4.1 also takes a further extensibility to say that you need to show me how you've configured those things. And I don't see any evidence that you've done any research at all. I mean, I would just beat you to death right there if I could on that one. So I'm going to say it's just that evidence of failure because you don't care. So hard right, like Bob said.
Hard right is correct. And good call out there, right? It's how you configure it and what you're doing to prove you're configuring it. This does come directly from a PDF, Excel sheet, whatever you want to download from CIS to tell you what to do. We're not up here making up settings and debating over our opinions. These are already documented and free to download and free to implement manually.
I don't know what Steven's calling out about my RSA thing. I saw a vlog that might say differently, Matt Lee. I wonder what he means by that.
Preparation a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Okay, fine. But that one's not fair. RSA's RSA, bro. And they are really, really big sticklers. They've already emailed me 12 times this week. So, like, I got to get it done. But, yeah. To be fair. Touche. No, touche, Stephen Kellogg. You ain't wrong.
And you know what? This is a good point.
Oh, Bob, don't you do that to me, Bob. Don't you do that.
Not enough time? We're already 2 minutes over. Not enough time to do it?
Do that.
Keep it going. Kerberos. Oh, no. Do we have two one seats going against each other?
Oh, man.
These are two of my
encryption types allowed for Kerberos is set correctly versus disable SMB server is set to disabled.
So one, I have SMB enabled. And the other one, I'm allowing bad encryption methods.
Any encryption.
Ooh.
It's bad because you have Felina on the right? Like at the end of the day, me trying to trick you into sending me a hash by asking you to connect to a poisoned SMB server. And you have weak encryption downgrades and attacks against Kerberos on the left. This is a virtual just slugfest. This is going to be like, I bet this is an 88. We could cross 100 scores, boys. Maybe not because LLMs probably did it on a 1 to 100 methodology and wouldn't have delineated from that in their Python scripting. But if not for that, this thing could go in the hundreds, boys. Hundreds.
It could have went to overtime.
I have to go encryption because I'm the cryptography.
I can't even call it. I'm going to sit here and just scream to the last second. I'm not even going to put in a vote.
I'm so mad that anybody would have disable SMB server set to disabled, which means you're enabling SMB server.
Yeah. No doubt. I mean, I'm just in trouble here. I'm going to say left. Last time. Yes.
It is.
How did this go this way?
I would say.
Okay, I'm done.
The score.
I'm just done.
A 1 point difference.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. Here's what happened, boys and girls. I guarantee you that the LLM judges that came into this believed that Kerberos and Active Directory are prevalent in every single environment, and therefore they had to have given a greater weighting to the left side and saying that the SMB server attack methodologies are not as valuable as taking over a ticket granting ticket or token granting token, and having the ability, it is ticket granting ticket, but it's okay, having the ability to attack Kerberos at a heart level and impersonate someone and become that someone probably comes down to that. And I get it, but I feel sorry for you, your shitty Active Directory servers. Okay.
Oh man. All right. Enable firewall traversal from remote access host is set to disabled versus a good old password policy with a 14 or more character length. No complementary controls, no MFA, no nothing as a reminder here.
So long passwords or enabling, disabling, transversal of enablement across the disablement on the host. I'm trying to figure out where that lands us, but I'm guessing network firewall becomes on. And or
right
passwords long. I'm going right. It's going to come down to cred security because I can attack that anywhere. You're going to have open things, open services that have firewalls open that I can attack with passwords. I'm going to take the right side right now.
Yeah, password all day long. Password.
Austin, what you got, brother?
Yeah, I was leaning passwords as well. I mean, I think too many
I
people.
also find irony that they don't talk about the with MFA, even though that's actually called out in the safeguard. But only on this part, right? Like they don't get into that, but I understand why. It's a setting level challenge, but just frustrates me.
I think the description when you download the PDF might mention that, but that doesn't change the result of what is deemed compliant.
It's funny how people read part of something and get shot and go, "You didn't tell me you couldn't be shot in the head with a bulletproof vest on."
All right, there's something there we need to do with next week.
Damn, head wounds aren't counted for.
A high-scoring game.
Yeah, of course it is. The password.
Down to the last 5 steps. Configure registry policy processing is set to enabled versus policy override is set to enabled with always allow updates or automatic silent updates specified. I mean, you got to have updates, right?
I don't even know what this is saying. Like, let's just pause for a second and understand that sometimes these settings, you got to go research them to understand context, impact, what it actually even means. All right, I digress.
I'm going right all day
It's
long
the right side for patch management.
because it's patch management. Like,
yeah,
a 0-day comes out and you don't patch it. It doesn't matter what your registry says you're doing.
Agreed.
You're wide open.
Yep. I'm going right. We can skip the buzzer on this one.
I'm pulling up so we can read from CIS. I was gonna do some extra work. Go ahead and give me something. Give me 10 more seconds.
Well, this morning I got up and drove through my back fence, which was kind of challenging because I really had to get backed up a little ways to have enough pressure to overcome the internal steel bars I placed inside my fence to reinforce it against tank attacks, truck attacks, things like that. And the headache was pretty big. Oh, no, is that too much? Should we go off on
No, this is perfect. My share screen is on the
Graded. I'm not shocked at all.
I actually do have reinforcement in my fence.
Oh, this is way too blurry. We're not going to do this. That doesn't work.
Note, updates to any component does not allow executable code, does not significantly alter the behavior of the browser or is critical to the security will not be disabled, e.g. certificate revocation lists and safe browsing data with, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, to call out, there is more information always available.
Sure.
All right.
I got to know about Flock down here, though. I don't know Flock. I've never. Anyways, I digress. Continue.
And the next matchup, we got another password policy. Maximum password age is set to 365 or fewer, but not 0 because that would be infinite. Versus disable cloud print is set to enabled.
So let's talk about not paying attention to recent NIST guidance in the last 5 years. But other than that, you're probably right. So I would say the challenge of this is that the empirical data says that you have to reset passwords. I would also argue there is growing evidence that people do stupid shit when they reset passwords and just add a 1 to it. And that incremental value is not very valuable. So my argument would be without any other controls in place, I just don't think the passwords age. Now, the challenge is you're saying that also affects complexity, and that's probably a duality of settings in Microsoft to create that. I don't know if that's true or not. In which case that may have higher value. But I'd also say, screw you, Microsoft, for making that only sound like time, not time plus complexity as a statement.
So I'm going to take this and go, I don't like either one of these as a winner. Minimum password age, to your point, NIST standards have eliminated that as a requirement.
We have to take it, don't we?
Age is just part of complexity. It's not, the totality of complexity. That's handled by some other controls. But disabling cloud print, that is a particularly, to your point, the wireless network out in an airport that you're on because you're sitting at the Centurion Lounge, printing stuff out there that happens and people don't necessarily realize what they're connecting to because they just see a printer as a printer and don't necessarily view a printer as a threat vector. I mean, I want to say print in the cloud is the more poignant control, but I think the LMM is going to say that it's going to be.
This is going to be like 75 to 20 or something. This is going to be brutal.
You almost got the 75.
Okay, that's better than I thought. Okay, good. Okay, good. I'm with you though, Josh. Giving me a printer and giving me an output should be controlled. It should be a setting. It shouldn't be something I can happen upon.
All right. Allow custom SSPs and APs to be loaded into LSAS is set to disabled versus the last of the 3 Windows firewalls.
Quickly looks up what SSPs are. I actually don't
I
know
know
what
I can go to
SSPs are.
Josh for
Sorry.
any acronym. I once tried to beat him on a live webinar and I was quickly defeated.
The acronym is Security Support Provider and Authentication Packages, if you actually wanted to know what those are.
I did. Thank you. That gives me context. Thank you. It'll help with the basketball game.
For those of us who are super geeks and like getting into the deeper stuff. For this, I'm actually going to say that disabling custom SSPs and LSAS is my.
And see, I would take the other side to say if the firewall's on, I can't reach out to you potentially. So
This is only for a domain firewall.
yeah, but we're on the domain. I made that up. I'm the game master. Yeah, we're on the domain. Do I get to do that or no? Maybe I can't do that.
Matt Lee's world, and we're just living in it.
Oh, whatever. I tease. No, you're probably right. You're probably right, Josh.
These
Actually.
2 controls, I would say the domain firewall.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right. It's gonna be real. I'll let Josh talk me into one for once. I'm going left. I'll never let you get down if I lose.
Damn
but,
close. This might be the highest scoring matchup.
LSAS means something completely different. Is that like swamp ass or is that different with LSAS? I'm not sure what that is in Louisiana, but
I mean, I'm up in North Louisiana, and I do agree with you that it does mean something different probably throughout the entire state than what.
okay. All right, cool. I'm
Matt,
from
have you
LA,
Louisiana?
Lower Alabama, technically. I mean,
Almost all of us, if you include Lower Alabama, all of us have lived in Louisiana in this room.
yeah. I almost went to jail in Louisiana more than once.
That counts.
Yeah, yeah, gotta count for something. Thanks for
That's
for a different webinar.
Okay, yeah, we'll have to talk about diamond trading in the Deep South.
Matt, what if I toss you some Mardi Gras beads? Anything good?
Yeah, those are nice, man. Those are nice.
I put them on my desk.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I one time carried a bag of beads. It actually wasn't Mardi Gras. I was down there for what's it in Tampa? What's it called down there?
Gasparilla.
Gasparilla. I carried a like 35-pound bag of beads like 7 miles because I didn't know taxis weren't available when everybody left Gasparilla. There was no such thing as taxis or Ubers. Like, so I walked 6.5 miles or something to my hotel. It was great. And I was a fat boy back then. It was a big old boy walking. I mean, it was a problem.
Oh man. Block Microsoft accounts is set to users can't add or log on with Microsoft accounts.
Huge.
And we are going against another UAC setting. Also, shout out. I believe there's like 9 different settings that relate to UAC. So remember, configure everything. Don't just do these. Detect application installations and prompt for elevation.
We're going right. Yeah, we're going right. But in my mind, I think there's an interesting argument here because as we become less and less Active Directory controlled, and as we become less and less sensitive information on the machines, then it's really about the account level access to the other tokens and the other things in the system that allow me on that machine. And I really want to steal tokens and things from people in sessions. And so I think right wins because of the impact of UAC installation of applications, like things like me adding in Screen Connect or something. But in my heart, I want to say in the future that left side probably has a pretty big impact too, of being able to log into a machine with a device, with a account you bring to then do stuff with it. And I actually have a specific Microsoft vulnerability that I found that abused this methodology that was fixed in the Microsoft Partner Center like 5 years ago. So I know it's possible to abuse these things 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Buzzer beater, what you got?
I have to agree with Matt. I think today UAC, talk to me in 5 years, and it might be the
Holy crap.
I think there might have
Okay.
been a
Okay.
Sorry,
okay,
I
man, you got me
clicked the
excited there for
left
a second, bro. I was
side
like,
of the
how did it get it right?
Yeah, I messed that up.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay.
I clicked the go back and anyway, it's fine. We were right. UAC.
All right, good. You shocked me there, man. I was shocked hard.
Would have been a hell of an upset.
Yeah.
All right, we got last 2 games. Do not show feedback notifications is set to enabled. One of the ways my grandma's home device became compromised. Allow or deny audio captured is set to disabled. What we got here?
Well, it depends where we're at. Are we in a skiff?
Yeah. I think
Okay.
this is very context.
That's a tough one, man. I would probably have to be pressed to say, because of the values down below with a low averaging and with mediums based on that.
Always upset.
But if somebody's already trying to get my audio, I'm in deeper problems. And I don't think any of these one single controls are going to save me.
I think for the purposes of this, they're going to say allow audio capture just because there's so much you can do with that from a
exfil
additional, side for, spoofing voices for vishing and stuff like that. But I do think the other one is probably a bit more end user focused.
Time to break out the super glue.
It's called a callback, everybody. This is a comedy show.
Super glue solve. Where's that audio hole?
And what we got?
Oh,
We
yeah,
do have
that checks
audio.
out.
Aspect
Josh,
of
you and I were
low-
on that
low-
one. We would have
low-
loved for that lower team to win, but we knew in our hearts it just wasn't going to happen,
And the final matchup of the round of 64.
You ended right here with enabled structure exception, hop, instead of allow log on locally as restricted administrators only.
Right.
Wait a minute.
You got to have a matchup.
Wait a minute. Hold on. You mean you're saying to me that I need me a local admin on my machine in order to sign in to this particular thing when that setting's set? Because I sure would like to take away local admins rights. Is that what I'm understanding here or misunderstanding that sitch?
No,
That's for servers, right?
That's got to be a server control because
that's a server.
You should be logging into a server with non-admin rights.
Yeah, totally. I'm with you. Then slam dunk. I think it's the right side.
Yeah. If we're making the assumption that this is absolutely servers and not
It has to be.
Yeah,
it's gotta be.
IHOP sounds
Right.
good.
Yeah, this is servers.
I'm ready for some IHOP, actually. Give me some pancakes, a little bit of bacon.
They did change their name briefly to like B-Hop.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, man,
so
I
they
need
were
to-
trying to
I don't
promote their
know.
burgers.
Well, IHOP anyway. International hands. Okay.
Oh, with a buzzer beater ending.
What?
Admins and users on the server.
Maybe they're making an
Yikes.
argument that the structured exception handling overwrite and the ability to overwrite something could be universally applied, whereby one would have to have proximity to log in locally to an asset that you weren't an admin on. That's the only thing I could think this guy was thinking when he played this game out in that last couple shots, like in my mind.
It was order here. It should have gone to overtime.
Yeah,
I mean,
with my eyeballs.
you can use shop to do, 0-day attacks and heap spray, but I think that's a little less squishy than allowing
Nicely said.
admins to log into a server.
I'm with you, man. I think this is another one that we check the ball, check the judges, check the refs, make sure they didn't call any weird fouls and such. You know what I mean? No purple cards or whatever that happens in basket sport.
Basketball. Oh my gosh. And that is the round. It's over. It is
Okay.
off to the Sweet
Okay.
16. We
Oh
are
man, it's gonna get
making it.
wild.
And if
Yeah,
you
gonna get
joined
wild.
this and you had fun, we do have a bracket you can submit with the QR code on the right, with my favorite dinosaur game in the center. But join us for the Sweet 16. We got to make the event for next week, but we will be sending it out. But again, these are all CIS recommendations, things you can do, things you can automate with good old Sention. But end of the day, these are things that need to get done. Thank you, Matt, Austin, and Josh. You guys were rock star. What's the word? Not commentators, announcers with me. You guys fucking killed it.
I'll also make my conflict of interest statements. I have no financial compensation for you being here. I'm only here because this is a good time. I thought I'd say that out loud. So
Matt's also donating a prize, isn't that right?
Wait a minute. Whoa. We didn't get all crazy now. We didn't get all crazy now.
Meeting with Matt Lee.
I'll meet with somebody if anybody thinks that's a prize. I'd be glad to.
So, how much is a signed photo of Matt Lee is worth to you?
Oh man, I'll use my left eye when I sign it too. It'll look pretty.
The first photo he takes with an open laptop, his signature. That's the prize.
Oh, I'll
Everybody.
do that. I will sign any unlocked laptop picture, 100%.
All right,
Yeah,
that's getting posted. It's going in the books. Make your Sweet 16, and we will talk next week. Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
And this is my first time hosting live and end stream